As most of you know, for the past 48 days, riots have been ongoing in Portland, and we have seen endless videos from the likes of Andy No, who's been documenting this, showing just how crazy many of these rioters are. Recently, video emerged of some DHS camo police coming out of a van, grabbing a guy off the street, I don't believe he was arrested. It was a detainment of some sort, potentially arresting him, but detaining him, putting him in a van. And because of this, they are now screaming that Trump's Gestapo is taking over Portland. And I got a thread for you that will melt your brain how insane it is. But there is no better person that I have seen who can tell you what's going on with these weird far leftists than this officer. Jakari Jackson just absolutely nails it. First and foremost, he's a police officer. Seems like a very smart guy. I believe he even says he's a PSU graduate with a history degree. Talks about how these white lefty Antifa types are using the same tactics that white supremacists used against his people in the past. He lays it all out. He talks about the problem of these people not even understanding what they're fighting for and how they're actually harming the conversations he has. This, to me, is the best example of what's really going on with these people. These people, as far as I'm concerned, are white supremacists with guilty consciences, but they still believe they're smarter and better and would tell other people what to do. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to show you a bit of this segment, but I really do recommend you go and watch this video from Jakari Jackson, the full thing. The story's up the Daily Caller. But I also want to talk about kind of how the left weaponizes. Man, I got to tell you, like I said, they're white supremacists with guilty consciences. Because we had another story. Check this out. James Harden blasted on social media for wearing thin blue line mask. You are not allowed to deviate from what they demand you believe. And that to me is the most offensive thing ever. You know why? Because I hate racists. I absolutely despise racism. You know what I see when I see James Harden? I see a human being. That's it. He's a guy. Am I talking about colorblindness? No. I'm saying that I don't know much about him. I got to talk to the guy first. And you know what? He might have opinions that I can't make assumptions about. And that's why what Jakari Jackson says is so important. Let me read you this stuff. From the Daily Caller, police officer Jakari Jackson says so many Portland protesters are white, racist against black people. Yes, I have seen it. I detest this. I have heard these people yell racial slurs. Man, props to this guy for speaking up. Portland police officer Jakari Jackson detailed racism he says he's experienced at Black Lives Matter protests in a video that recently went viral. Quote, it says something. When you're at a Black Lives Matter protest, you have more minorities on the police side than you have in a violent crowd. And you have white people screaming at black officers. You have the biggest nose I've ever seen, he said. These people, I've heard it, man. He is not lying. This is why I can't stand the ACAB people either, because they are lying. These people in the crowds, they're lying. I tell you, I told the story before, man, when I was in Portland, and there was a right-wing group, left-wing group, and guess what? The white Antifa people across the street with the police blocking the road so nobody would cross were screaming racial slurs. And there was one dude on the right-wing side who was black who got really mad. And he broke away from the group and he was about to cross over. And these other dudes grabbed him and told him to stop. Don't engage with those racists. Don't let them trigger you like this. Don't let them get the best of you. It was crazy to see. A white man and a black man on the right-wing side, and the white guy was like, you're my brother. I'm here with you, man. We're in this together. Don't let them get to you. I tell you, it is infuriating to hear these people get away with this. The media won't call them out. Why won't they record this stuff? Why don't they play this stuff? I have heard it over and over again. Jackson added that he believes some of the protesters were genuine about advancing change in the wake of George Floyd's death. And he's right. They are. Dude, this guy, this officer, he should have a big channel. He should, what he says, he's intelligent. He nails it. He talks about what they're doing, what they're saying. Smart dude. He says, quote, I got to see those people get faded out by people that have no idea what racism is all about, never experienced racism. They don't even know that the tactics they are using were the same tactics that were used against my people. Protests have been going on for some time. He says the Department of Homeland Security recently sent federal agents to Portland in an attempt to quell the violence, which was met with a strong rebuke from Democratic Mayor Ted Wheeler. Quote, I told the acting secretary that my biggest immediate concern is the violence federal officers brought to our streets in recent days and the life-threatening tactics his agents use. Wheeler tweeted Wednesday, we do not need or want their help. Well, that's a whole other issue, man. But let me tell you, dude, this guy's a cop. He experiences it firsthand, and he's telling you My biggest question to these far lefties, to the Black Lives Matter people, to the white progressives, is that if you really do believe that Black Lives Matter, can't you listen to what he has to say? I think the answer is you absolutely have to. Of course you do. If we're really going to combat racism, we're going to have a real conversation with everybody. And that includes the cops, man. Police are people. They live in our society. They go to the store. They buy groceries. They order pizza. And they protect you while you sleep. It's a Fight Club reference. But my thing is, you can't just say that the only voices that matter are the voices of your ideology. Nah, man, this guy gets to speak. And he deserves that, our attention, that we listen to what he has to say. And that's true for Black Lives Matter protesters 100%. Not these violent far-left Antifa types who are co-opting the message and taking over. The real, the people who actually want to speak up and call out police brutality. But you know what it also means? It means the cops, too. How insane how many videos have we seen? There's a really funny video going around where it's a black cop arresting a white guy. The white guy's wearing Black Lives Matter, and he's being arrested by a black cop. Because the reality is, I think what we've learned from all this, at least what I've learned, is that race really doesn't matter. Of course it matters in some ways, right? Racism is a real thing. But when you can see this cop calling these people out, he's going to tell you what racism is really about. You see these far left activists claiming they're the ones fighting it. They're not. The issue is the ideology, not the color of the person's skin. How that's a message that people can actually start to understand, especially with this next story. James Harden gets blasted on social media for wearing thin blue line mask. You know what my immediate reaction to the story was when I saw this guy wearing the thin blue line mask? Nothing. Literally nothing. I don't know anything about this dude. Apparently he's a pro basketball player. He's probably very athletic, very talented. That's the only assumption I could make about him. These people want to assume so much about you, and they don't know you. They don't know what you think. They don't know who you voted for. They don't know how hard you work. They don't know where you come from, and they don't know what you do to help. But they will make every assumption in the book about you based on the mask you wear, based on the color of your skin. I can't stand these people. Now, look, we all make assumptions. That I get. But you know what I try to do? I try to find out about the content of a person's character. Man, this dude, James Harden, is probably smarter and more talented than 99% of all of these far left crazies that are attacking him on the internet. This dude probably, I'd imagine, at his level of skill playing in the NBA, he's probably a successful businessman. He's probably working with a business manager and agencies, and he probably knows more about how the world works than any one of these whiny activists on the internet. And this is another thing that makes me laugh about the absurdity of these so-called, white progressive far leftists, is that they, of all of the people who lack an education, they claim to be the ones who are educated. No. This dude knows more about the real world than you do. And so does that Portland cop. These people, in my opinion, are just racists. Houston Rockets guard James Harden is facing significant backlash on the internet after a picture of him wearing a thin blue line mask was tweeted from the Rockets account. The thin blue line mask is worn primarily by those seeking to express support for law enforcement. And maybe he did want to express that. I don't know. He's wearing the mask. That's all I can say. But you know what? It doesn't say anything about his character. It doesn't say he's good, bad, evil, smart, stupid. No, it's just a mask. People want to make so many assumptions. I just don't like it. Twitter did not take long to react. Trey Songz says, "This certified clown S. I'll say it for everybody who's scared to. FOH. It's the Houston Rockets account saying mask up." Rev Shannon says, "Tomorrow on Undisputed, Skip and I will talk about how James Harden is a sellout for wearing a mask. James, you were a brother." You know what, man? NBA Central says, NBA Twitter is going crazy after James Harden was spotted wearing a thin blue line mask. Yeah, he was. In more than one picture. Cernovich said, "It's going to be great when fans force James Harden and the Rockets to apologize because they didn't realize this is a Blue Lives Matter bandana. But to disavow this mask will be proof that they hate police." I'm going to go ahead and assume he knows what it is. I don't want him to apologize. You know what I would love to hear from him? Hey, man, we're all entitled to our opinions. That's what I'd love to hear from him. But you know what? He's going to do what he thinks he's got to do, for better or for worse. And I hate to see people back down. But what I can't stand more, is like, listen, this is what you get. I'm not going to read this Twitter thread. It's about Portland, all right? But to throw it back to this officer, you have here a white progressive telling everyone else exactly how things are. And they do not want to listen to this officer. Why? Because they say ACAB. All cops are bad. It's actually more of a swear I can't say on YouTube. This guy's not. This guy seems all right. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I heard what he had to say, and I've seen it. I don't know what it's like to experience it the same way he does. I come from a particular community. He comes from a different community, but we're all Americans. But I've seen it. I've stood there and I've watched these far leftists say these things to him. But they're not. But this cop, they block you. They say, don't listen to what he has to say. Who do they want you to listen to? A white progressive activist who's going to tell you that the Trump's Gestapo is coming in 48 days, snatching up people in parks and shutting things down. It's a dystopian nightmare. Oh, shut up, dude. Nah. This is a guy who's going to tell you what's really going on. You know what he said? He said they go to neighborhoods and the first business they destroy is a black-owned business. I want to see Americans come together as Americans. I want to see the world come together as humans. That's what we strive for. But I can't stand it. When I come to these events and I see these white progressive liberals, they're not liberals, that's not fair. I hate saying that. Leftists, tell him he's not allowed a voice. No, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. The saying is that Black Lives Matter. All right, I'm down. I've said it before. If you want to come to me and talk about people who have their rights violated, I'm totally on board to guarantee those rights. That's why people like Frederick Douglass were so awesome, because he challenged Americans to stand up to that. But you know what that means? It means this officer, he gets to speak too. And he's going to stand there and he's going to get his say, same as everybody else. And then it also means the white officer, the Latino officer, the Asian officer, they all get a chance to speak up, and we come together to solve our problems. You don't get to unilaterally shut everyone down and impose your will on everybody else and accuse some other people of being racist because they believe in law enforcement. Law enforcement are part of our communities. These Antifa types are a serious problem for us. And you can see it if you would just listen. I know most of you who are listening are literally listening. But don't take it from me, man. I mean it. Watch this video. Go to the Daily Caller. Check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. Check this guy out. Smart dude. And I'm glad I got to hear what he had to say. To be honest, it's confirmation bias for me because I've experienced it. Like, I've witnessed it. It's a better way to put it. This guy knows what he's talking about. Hear him out. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.